Hi there, my name is Lori Weiler, and this is my presentation on the disordered personality I know in Psych 6310. The sociopath I know is named Michelle, and the criteria that she meets for being a sociopath is that she is deceitful and manipulative, she's impulsive, she can be irritable at times, very irresponsible, and shows a lack of remorse towards her friends, family, and those around her. Some examples that I have listed is that Michelle moved across the country on a whim without the funds to do so, and without telling close family members who she's had a close relationship with her whole entire life. So to expand on this a little bit more, she completely moved across the country, didn't tell a single person that she was close to, and then kind of just acted like it was nothing. When people asked her about it or asked her what happened, what she did, she showed no sign of, oh, I should have told them, or forgive me if I didn't tell you. And it was kind of on a whim. It didn't seem like she had asked people for help, or she had the funds to do so, or she had it planned out at all. It was really just, oh, I'm going to move across the country. I made this decision on a whim, and I'm not going to tell anyone about it, despite how close we are. Additionally, she's constantly moved from house to house of friends and family, and when she lives with them, she barely works and does not contribute to the household, despite saying she will, and then she leaves unexpectedly and then blames the family that she's living with for her struggles. So this is a repetitive thing that happens in Michelle's life. She constantly just moves around houses, whoever will take her in for that moment. She says, oh, I'll work, I'll contribute to the household, I'll do my chores, I'll give you some money towards rent, whatever I need to do, and then doesn't show up to work, makes excuses, and then doesn't follow through with what she was saying that she was going to do, and then she eventually leaves, usually unexpectedly, usually without much notice. The family doesn't even know that she's planning on leaving, or it could be very sudden within a few days or a few weeks, and then blames the family on what happened or what occurred or why she needs to move, instead of taking that responsibility on herself, and saying, hey, maybe some things went wrong, maybe I made some false promises. She blames those that hosted her and allowed her to live in the house for such a long time, instead of taking responsibility. So the first example really shows her impulsivity, her irresponsibility, and lack of remorse. And the second example shows that she's pretty deceitful, impulsive, and irresponsible with those around her. So these are just some examples of how she meets the criteria of being a sociopath. And I will continue to explain what has kind of led to led to Michelle being a sociopath as well. So for this next slide, I'm going to touch on what external influences may have contributed to Michelle's sociopathy, some things that have happened throughout her life as she continued to age that may have contributed to make her the way she is and the way that she acts. So first, I think the key part of what caused or kind of might have been the catalyst to this sociopathy that she shows is the fact that her parents divorced at a very young age. This divorce was not just a separation of the family, but also the family moved across the country. She had to leave all her school, her friends, her relatives, everyone she knew to move across the country, and she also didn't have much contact with the parent she was moving away from. So that really caused conflict and divide and a lot of emotions to arise. Additionally, then, once she moved, there were a lot of things that happened in her preteen and teenage years, living in a single-parent, low-income home. She was sexually abused in her preteen years and didn't really receive much help for that. She didn't receive counseling. She didn't receive very much communication regarding that. Again, she lived in a single-parent, low-income home where the funds were very tight. There were times when food was in the need for food was in question, and whether she was going to have food. The parent did have the funds to be able to supply for the family, but made some wrong choices, and therefore really affected how the family lived and the things that they had. And additionally, she moved from home to home or house to house throughout her childhood as well. So there was no stability, there was no structure, there was no way for her to really interact with peers and friends and develop relationships, because she was constantly moving from home to home. And this was due to the lack of financial stability that a single parent was able to provide. So that constant moving really caused her to not be able to really stabilize herself and develop the relationships that she needed with friends and family. Additionally, eventually later on in her her teenage life, her parent became starting to abuse alcohol, would become violent with her at times, and could not provide for the family because of this. So this parent was again the sole parent and the sole income of the family, and decided to didn't decide, but kind of allowed alcoholism to take over their life, and that really affected Michelle as well, because again, funds were already tight, and now they were non-existent at times. The family continued to move around and lose their homes and lose their places that they were living, and she also became a victim of abuse, because her mom would get drunk and then throw her around or throw things at her. So this really contributed to that relationship that she had with her mom kind of being broken, and really broke up the family, and contributed to Michelle's sociopathy.